Have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions of your life without really making progress towards anything meaningful? Hey everyone, it's Shrikar, and today I really just want to talk about locking in and also what locking in means to me. So, just diving right into it, what does it mean to lock in, right? Ultimately, when someone arrives at the conclusion, okay, I need to lock in, it means that they're starting at a certain place, like in, let's say, in the race, they're starting somewhere along in the race, right? Maybe they're halfway done with the race, maybe they haven't even started the race, maybe they're a quarter of the way finished with the race, but they're somewhere on the racetrack. And ultimately, their goal is to get to the finish line. That's the kind of person that says, okay, I need to lock in. I need to get to the finish line probably as soon as possible. And the representation of that finish line can be anything for anyone. I can make a whole other video about why it's meaningless for someone who doesn't care about something as much as you trying to tell you that what you care about is not, it's not going to amount to anything. It's not important. I can make a whole video about why you shouldn't listen to them and what's wrong with the person that's even saying that to begin with. But ultimately, right, the finish line represents something for all of us. When I say I want to lock in, I ultimately just want to become the best version of myself possible. I don't want to be the most perfect person in the world. I just want to be the best version of myself. And I don't know what the best version of myself is doing. And what I mean by that is I don't know if the best version of myself is the CEO of my own company, the CEO of an existing company, an entrepreneur, just an employee. I don't know if the finish line to me means financial freedom, financial independence. And of course, in my scenario of the finish line, I'm talking ultimate goals in life finish line. And in my finish line and in my ultimate goal, I have achieved my version of success across all aspects of life. I hold certain beliefs and values to be true, and my ultimate version of myself has completed and fulfilled and surpassed those beliefs and values, and that's a whole other can of worms. That's what locking in means to me. And really why I'm making this video is just because I recently had a conversation with a friend, and what really came out of that conversation is that me and this friend could both individually look back at a period of time where we were doing a lot better than we are now. And when I say that, I mean there's a version of ourselves in the past that was just more on top of their stuff. They were working out every day. They were just attacking life with a certain tenacity that our current versions in this present time are not doing. And so it just got me to thinking, I think some common obstacles for me, and maybe a lot of you who are watching this, are just I tend to lose a sense of direction. It's so easy for like a month, 2 months, 3 months to, hit the gym every day, to eat healthy, to sleep on time, to meditate, whatever it is that you are working towards in your pursuit to hit your finish line. But it's really hard when no one's giving you gratitude for it, right? Delayed gratification. No one's really, just because you're doing those things doesn't mean that you earn or deserve some kind of reward, but also you're just not going to get it. You're not going to see anything until much later. In the time that I think of myself as being so on top of it, right? At that time, I didn't know that I was on top of it, right? I just knew that I was pushing myself, I was pushing myself, I was pushing myself. And then I guess one day I stopped, right? But looking back now, I realized that looking back, that was my high. That was the highest point in life by my standards, that I was just that was the best version of myself. I feel like when I think about that was the best version of myself. And ultimately, I think locking in is just thinking about what the best version of yourself looks like, thinking about what the finish line looks like, and thinking about what you need to do to get there and what you need to change within yourself to get to the finish line. That's what I think locking in means. I'm in the middle of editing the video right now, and I just realized if I'm gonna get close to shaping myself into the person I eventually want to be, if I'm going to get close to building the habits, setting up the systems, absorbing the knowledge I need to set some pretty crazy standards now that'll only grow into more and more later, now is the perfect time to start. I'm in my early 20s. Now is the perfect time to start, especially before it's too late. I know people like Gary Vee will be like, oh, you can start, like, it's never too early, like your 20s are great, but you can start in your 30s, 40s, 50s, right? What's the fun? I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be successful when I'm 50. This is the time to be rich and successful. And so I'm not saying I want to be rich and successful, right? But I'm not saying that's what I have to do during this time period. I'm saying if I even have a chance of doing those things, now is the time that I start locking in. That's kind of what I remembered. I re-thought of, I rediscussed, and like I'm back on alignment, I'm back on the vision. I know what my finish line is. I know what kind of person I want to be, and I know what I want to be doing. And so I'm going to start thinking about those things, but more importantly, or I would say just as importantly, I'm going to start acting on those things, and I'm going to start, pushing the boundaries forward. There will come a time where if I keep going at the rate that I'm going now, I will surpass that Shrikar that was in my head, that I idealized, and I'm thinking about, wow, that was the best version of myself. At some point, if I keep going along this rate, I will surpass that guy. But I'm not going to realize it in that moment. And I'm not going to realize it until either A, I surpass that old memory of myself, and I keep going so far that I can look back and be like, wow, I myself can look back and be like, wow, last year compared to this year, I've made so much progress, right? I can either keep pushing the envelope and keep going forward and keep trying to get to the finish line, or I can lose my sense of direction, be like, I see other people doing other things. I can give in to temptation, and I can fall off and kind of just reminisce now, wow, that version of me back then used to be so good. And again, I'm not doing so bad, right? This is not like a call for help or anything. I'm just saying the way I operate now is fine, it's okay. But the way I was operating back then, number one, gives me reassurance that I'm capable of operating at such a capacity. But number two, I'm capable of operating in ways that I never have before. And that's what I think locking in is, and that's what I think locking in means to me. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.